Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and let's recap last week's Sun Neptune opposition because that was a doozy. There was a lot going on. I'm sure, and I've been hearing this a lot from different clients, whether they're seeing it physically in their lives or it's just a strong intuitive or emotional feeling that they're in between timelines or their dreams are so close or they're shifting so much energy in the physical, mental, or spiritual realm. So as Mercury and Venus are gaining their momentum, gaining their strength, of course, we're leading up to the Aries full moon today. Once we move into October, we're really entering eclipse season. Kind of already feels like we're in eclipse season. If you know, you know. So all of these things that you felt last week, pay attention to them. What downloads were coming in? What were you feeling? What were you sensing? Were you feeling called to invest in? Because that Neptune would have been pulling very strongly. Because remember, it was opposing the sun. The sun can be vitality, ego, soul. So there's a reason that if you're feeling uncomfortable, if you're feeling nervous, if you're feeling scared, and also paying attention to the stories that we tell ourselves around our dreams, especially with Mercury gaining strength, it's going to be able to get more clear and really assess, is this story, is this narrative, is this belief, is this opinion real or not? And this is something fun that happened to me. Sometimes when I say fun, it's like the scientist in me when it comes to astrology. And I've had this a lot in the past, and I wanted to bring it up again because I think all of us have some spiritual practice or believe in a higher power. If you tune into these, or if you just stumbled across it now, you're meant to see this. And when we see manifestation work, or if we see something that we really love, we're like, we just want to share this with everyone. We just want everyone to know the magic. And especially when it comes to dreams and dreaming about someone, and then automatically sharing that dream. I got a lot of messages during the pandemic. You were in my dream. This happened, that happened. And then I started to get people warning me. They're like, this happened in my dream. You were being this happened to you. I just want to let you know. I never asked, not once. I do not play when it comes to dream interpretation. I am a Saturnine soul. So I love consent. I love boundaries. I love being pragmatic about things. So I had someone in the DMs on the Sun Neptune opposition last week say, I know you always tell us to trust our dreams. This is what came through. You were being attacked, gave me all the specifics. It was very clear, very specific. But for me, like I said, I didn't ask. And this is just something that I want to share with everyone because I messaged back the individual and I said, I know this was with good intention. However, moving forward, whether it's with me or anyone else, I would highly recommend asking for consent before you divulge a dream meaning. Because when you tell someone, especially people that are very sensitive to energy, you are now placing a seed in their subconscious mind that this dream is going to manifest into reality. This is also a much bigger conversation when you give your energy to certain readers, healers, doctors, whomever. When they tell you something and you believe it, your body will start to shift and to change. So for me reading that, of course, I got a little bit anxious and I had to clear it. But for me, I'm like, this isn't real. And what I mean by that is, in my experience, most people do not have prophetic dreams. They just don't. It's not a gift that they have, in my experience. Most times, dreams are for us to vent, for us to release, for us to get clear, for us to have intuitive downloads about our own lives. And they can be extremely powerful. But I just want to break this down for anyone that has dreams about anyone and how you can get a bit more clear. And it's funny too, because we talk about like Venus and Mercury and Mars and Saturn. And I feel like we give Neptune a good amount of airtime, but Miss Thing was like, I want more airtime. So we're giving Neptune the spotlight today. So say in this situation, this individual had a dream about me being attacked, which we're not claiming, we're not affirming universe. We're just using this as an example. So say this individual saw me as an intuitive masculine energy. Then if this energy, the masculine intuitive, was getting attacked by someone else, that could mean for them, their perception of me is getting attacked. So the perception of me is the masculine intuitive, which would then be a reflection that they could sit with and say, okay, so where am I not trusting my intuitive downloads? My intuitive downloads are saying I need to act, I need to grow, I need to invest, the masculine. And who is attacking that? Is it a figure in my life? Is it something from my past that is being reflected in the attacker in the dream? So in reality, it had nothing to do with me. It is more so how they get to represent an energy within themselves through my image. And of course, we can use a Sex and the City analogy. During season 1, when the girls are saying who they would be intimate with, and Miranda didn't get picked, and then she had a dream that no one of the friend group wanted to play with her in the sandbox. Did it mean the girls were actually going to go play in the sandbox? No. It was Miranda's perception of her desirability within the friend group being questioned based on her own insecurity. It's also a great episode from season 1 if you want to rewatch it. So with that being said, to recap, with the Sun-Neptune opposition last week, please pay attention. Your dreams when you were sleeping might have been very visceral, very real. You might have needed more sleep. Things might have not have been moving, or like tech crashes. Of course, Neptune can influence that as well. So that as we approach this full moon, you know where you want to reshift your energy. And with my own tidbit of an example, if you have other dreams about certain people, certain celebrities, people of prominence, what does that person represent to you? Does that celebrity represent light, joy, power, knowledge, deceit, corruption, abuse of power? What is that? So you can start to see what your subconscious is trying to show you through an image that you're going to recognize instantly. Okay. So with that being said, let's jump into the week ahead. Monday, September 25th. So remember how we were getting really excited about this Mercury-Jupiter trine. So this is a phenomenal aspect. It was growing and growing and growing all of last week. So for Monday, everyone around the world, this is going to be activated. This can be said with Mercury being clear, precise, editing, commerce, productivity, deals. If you're wanting to promote something on social media, if you're a business owner, a phenomenal day to do it. If you're wanting to get things done that you've been procrastinating on, a great thing to do it. This is also an energy too, because the moon is in Aquarius, making that trine to Mars in Libra. So using your voice. I'll talk to a lot of clients and I'll say, like, do you use your voice to speak the affirmations, to speak the spell work? And sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no. I use my voice all the time, clearly, right now. But when I'm in the shower doing affirmation work, when I'm setting intentions before client session, I'm always using my voice. So this could be a great time to experiment first thing in the morning, to speak aloud the affirmations and the intentions that you have at the beginning of the day, throughout the day, to see how your mind expands. That's all we're doing. We're just fine-tuning ourselves to a frequency through our words, through our thoughts, to then receive the reflection from those beliefs every single day. And sometimes it takes a little while for the new belief to register in the external world, but you're fine-tuning it every single day, right? And so this is just something to note that's going to be a very powerful day for your mind, for your words, for business, for opportunity. So if you're wanting to shoot your shot, if you're wanting to send that correspondence, whatever it is, this is a phenomenal time to do so. The one thing that can be a little tricky with this Moon-Venus opposition is insecurity around your beauty, your worth, your knowledge. So you might be hesitant to put yourself out there, whether it's in love, business, whatever the situation is. But if you know that you've worked through, especially the whole Venus and Leo retrograde, the energies over the past few months, this is the time to do it. If you're wanting an answer, if you're wanting clarity, if you're wanting expansion on a Venusian matter, on a mercurial matter, this is the time to do it. And all this week, the moon is gaining light leading up to that Aries full moon on Friday, right? So just know the energy is building, the energy is growing. So there is this forward momentum as we progress throughout the week. Now, we are going to move on to Tuesday. So Tuesday, the moon is still in Aquarius. She's going to be hitting Saturn later at night, Pacific Standard Time, around 6 p.m. So for everyone, and this is interesting for me too, because the moon is making this square to Uranus. It's making a trine to the south node. It's going to be hitting Saturn. There's likely something that you're going to have to let go. whether it's a mindset, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a pattern, whether it's a habit, something that does not serve you. It's almost like you're not emotionally going to be able to run past this. And it can even just be sitting down and journaling. It's like, I haven't done this in a long time. I'm going to sit down. It could be having that conversation with someone that you've been meaning to this entire Venus retrograde. A lot of the one questions that I've been receiving have been around love and connection. And are certain relationships going to advance? Or when should I wait to see if this relationship doesn't work? That's been very, very common over the past few weeks. So if this is a time where you want clarity, Monday, Tuesday would be a great time to get that clarity with the Mercury-Jupiter trine. And now with us leaving this Moon-Venus opposition, whether it's internal or external, something is likely to need to slow down or be released so that this Moon North node sextile can get activated. Also, too, between yesterday and today, we're still working with this Venus-Mars sextile. So this also leads me to believe, especially with a little bit of mutual reception, given that Venus rules over Libra, that there's some kind of amicability or resolution that is made available, which you might then need to process your emotions after this conversation or after this revelation occurs, which will be the Moon-Saturn conjunction, which happens later on Tuesday, depending on your time zone. So just be aware that there might be emotions that need to come up, that need to be released, and it's for your highest good. And you can even look at this in terms of the houses that are ruled by Aquarius, Leo, even Pisces, to see when the moon moves into Pisces, what needs to be sat with and what needs to slow down for then the expansion to occur. But Tuesday is definitely an emotional day, so plan accordingly. And this is almost like a measure twice, cut once type of day, to not pop off, whether no matter what end of the conversation or thought process you're on, give yourself time to slow down and use your words, because we still have the moon making that trine to Mars. There's going to be resolution through you speaking this, not jumping to conclusions, not getting in your head, not falling into a story that isn't real, using your words to gain clarity so you can release certain energy to call in more aligned energy that's likely to become very obvious on the Aries full moon. Now, Wednesday, this is interesting too, because now Mercury is in a 5-degree orb of Uranus. So this is where new mindsets get to occur. This is where new opportunities are likely to happen. Revolution, innovation, reinvention. These are all things that are likely to come through, which would make sense that if we're letting go of a relationship, a mindset, a story, or an unaligned energy on Tuesday, now Mercury is having its eyes set on Uranus, which is amazing. And to see where this shift or this innovation is likely to take place, remember, we can look at the houses ruled by Virgo and Taurus. Now, with this being said, we also now have the moon still in Pisces, the moon opposing Mercury. And this can also be the paradigm shift, the emotions that are attached to old stories of it will never work. Every time I try and do this habit, I have this mindset, I always go back. I always go back to this unaligned partner, this habit, this job, whatever it is. But this is your call to action. This is where Saturn is going to give you a little kick in the tail to either invest in the right resources to support you, especially emotionally, or for you to have your eyes set on your dreams, because then after the moon leaves this opposition with Mercury, it has its like warm embrace with Neptune, which is great. And also now the moon is making that sextile to Jupiter. There's mutual reception here, very strong mutual reception, because Jupiter rules over Pisces, the moon is exalted in Taurus. So there's likely to be some very clear download or idea or offering or notion of you putting yourself first, putting this new ideal, putting this new story first. Remember, the moon is gaining light. There is something that is coming to a completion or something that is coming to a climax for you to fully break into the new chapter of your life. Like, it's like, of course, it's Aries full moon, so there's going to be something that has to end to finish, but it's almost like in tarot, the judgment card is prominent throughout this entire week until we get to the Aries full moon. Then it's the world card, where it's going to be a very definitive finish for certain things in our life to then move forward. Yes, that's all I want to say about that. Also, too, Venus making that square to Uranus, which is then going to go exact on Friday. But this is also something to note as well in terms of, we're talking about this Mercury-Uranus trine. Venus making this applied square to Uranus is you potentially shifting what brings you joy, what brings you pleasure. This is also Venus and Leo, your identity. So there's probably a lot that's shifting in who you are, who you want to become. That's what we were talking about at the start of this video, right? In terms of past self, future self, timelines, a lot of shifts are happening. So be kind to yourself. And even on Wednesday, even though the moon is leaving this conjunction with Saturn, it's still pretty close. So if you need time to slow down and to take it easy on Wednesday, please do so. Thursday. Thursday is not a day that we are playing around. We are not taking lightly in terms of your rituals, your spiritual practices, your evening routine on Thursday, non-negotiable. Turn that phone off. I would not personally watch any reality TV where people are fighting or there's gossip or drama. Not the vibe, especially with the moon having that conjunction to Neptune. And this can even go on Wednesday for certain time zones as well. Like Wednesday, Thursday, please treat your evening routine sacredly. Even if it's just not consuming content an hour before you go to bed, that is going to make a massive difference to see what is coming up to the surface in your dreams. Especially, like, remember, we just had that Sun-Neptune opposition last week. So the fact that we have the moon, which is helping with our emotions, our body, that emotional regulation, this is a time where it's like, great, there might even be more clarity on what you were feeling last week, or a feeling of calmness, or a feeling of purpose, or a feeling of structure, given it's still co-present Saturn. So we want to take that seriously so we can take full advantage of that. Is there anything else I wanted to note here? This is also to what I've done in the past, and what I even experienced with clients is when we are tuning ourselves to a certain frequency, whether it's your favorite movie, TV show, entrepreneur, loved one, it doesn't matter. It's likely that your energy shifts by being in their presence, whether it's their words, their physical energy, them performing. You are tuning yourself to a certain frequency. It is very common when I'm having a call with a client, right after they'll say, oh, this invoice just came in. I just made a sale. I just got this amazing email. This person messaged me back. I was like, yes, exactly. Because I put a lot into my practice. I put a lot into my vessel, my home, everything to attune myself to a certain frequency every single day. So I'm sharing that frequency with whomever I am with, whether it's a client, a loved one, a friend, it doesn't matter. And often it is magic where things just open up, everyone smiles, everything is easy. It's a vibe. And I work very diligently and place certain boundaries in my life to maintain that frequency. So when my clients have these breakthroughs very quickly, or there's a very fast turnaround between our session and getting what they wanted, I'm not shocked, because I tune myself to that frequency to share with them. And I also receive that from my mentors and my healers, where the turnaround is very quick. Why I'm sharing that is because on a day like Thursday, even Wednesday, if you can attune yourself to a higher frequency, whether that's music that empowers you, whether it's your favorite content creator that's giving great spiritual advice, whether it's having a conversation with your favorite family member and you just need that extra support, do that on Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday, phenomenal days to do that as we're leading up to this full moon. Okay, that's your homework, attuning yourself to the frequency that you want and engaging in that. Even if that's watching 4 hours of your TV show, I don't care. I do care. What I mean is, there's nothing wrong here. You sitting down and engaging in your favorite frequency and the frequency that you wish to feel, your dream frequency, that's the vibe, truly, to attune yourself to this next level that is going to be coming through when we get to Friday. So Friday, we have the full moon in Aries. Of course, I will be posting the full moon workshop later on this week. One thing to note here as well is that this is a full moon ruled by Mars. Mars is very close to this south node. And that's what I was talking about, like this judgment, this world energy of tarot that I've been getting intuitively since I started recording. And it's just very literal. And we also see here the moon is making that close conjunction with Chiron. It's like your ego is probably going to need to die. Things that are unaligned, things that are unbalanced, things that are unjust, things that do not make you happy are going to be released. It's a given. Or you're going to get extreme resolution or clarity or an answer or something signed, sealed, delivered, whether it's a contract, a lease, opportunity, legalities, whatever that is, right? If we're talking legalities like Mars and Libra, hello, it's like, this is done. And quite simply, it can be a moment where you're now putting energy and focus into what brings you joy. And of course, no surprise, on this exact day too, we have Venus making that square to Uranus. So there's going to be a lot that's shifting with this full moon in a good way. It's kind of like a wrecking ball energy where it needs to just come through and obliterate everything, all the illusions, all the delulu, illusion, everything that doesn't make sense, it's gone. It's kind of like a final clear out when you see it in a store. It's like everything has to go to make space for the new. We're not resisting it. Throughout this whole week, you've been seeing that there are multiple days where things need to be let go, things need to shift, new paradigms need to occur for this full moon to come in and completely change your life. More on that soon with the workshop. Saturday is great because we have this moon, Venus, trine, and the moon is conjunct the North Node. And then we also have Mercury making that trine to Uranus. So this will probably feel like you're on the opposite side, like running downhill, swimming downstream, that things are getting easier. There's something that's going to happen that is going to feel very aligned, very easy, very pleasurable. Even if it's not a physical, tangible energy, it's probably just going to be an emotional feeling of lightness that you get to run with. And I do just personally think with everything that's being activated, especially with this Mercury, Uranus, trine, it's like reinvention. You're not going to be the same person, which is phenomenal. You're going to be the higher version of yourself, where it's almost like, even if you don't do anything that I say, again, it's your choice. You get to do whatever you want. You're going to be feeling something different. But if you do the work, if you engage in these rituals and practices and homework, then the shift is likely to be that much more dynamic. Because I'll often get DMs being like, I'm not feeling anything, nothing is working, I'm feeling exhausted. I don't know what your nutrition is. I don't know what your mindset is. I don't know the energy that you're keeping in terms of coworkers, friends, family. If the company you keep, if the surroundings of you is not aligned, you might not see as dynamic as a shift. So take this, heed this opportunity to build the momentum so that when we get to the weekend, there's something very pleasurable, very sweet waiting for you. And yes, we do have this moon Mars opposition. However, there's mutual reception here too, because Mars rules over Aries. So there's likely to be something where it's like, I am not feeling this. Like Aries is very immediate. It is like this childlike energy where if it doesn't like something, it's going to explode, or it's going to be very vocal about it, like a baby crying or screaming when it's not happy. If there is something that doesn't make you happy, you're going to move through it to get to something that's pleasurable. The pleasurable energy is this moon, Venus, trine. It doesn't mean you have to act like a child or act with haste or impulsively, although you might act impulsively no matter what I say. It's the feeling that I'm getting here is that the change can be swift. You don't have to be in a state of frustration for a long period of time. We also do have the moon making this square to Pluto. So there's going to be change. There's going to be a death and rebirth. There's going to be you being pushed out of your comfort zone to initiate something new. Remember, Aries, Libra, and Capricorn are all cardinal energies to initiate something new. And of course, if you have late cardinal placements in your chart, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, in and around 20 to 29 degrees, this full moon is going to be very, very activating for you. So just be aware of that. Now, when we get to Sunday, this is amazing. This is fantastic. The moon exalted conjunct Jupiter. There might be lots to celebrate. There might be a lot that's going on that you want to indulge in. Celebrate yourself on Sunday. I'll say it one more time. Celebrate yourself on Sunday. There's likely to be fertility, abundance, good news, or you just honoring yourself because you've put in the work. You don't need a pomp and circumstance necessarily. I think for some of you there will be, but you get to celebrate yourself. This also on the other side could be a time where you're just planning to get everything in order to launch and to send out, because October 1st, right? So you might be goal mapping, you might be getting everything ready for Monday, which Monday is also a really great day if you're wanting to release content, sales, marketing, emails, contracts, legalities. There's expansion in the air. So use Sunday to your advantage. it's a beautiful day to do so. Now, I've been getting a lot of comments, a lot of DMs for me to speak on the writers' strike, the actors' strike that's been going on in the United States, which is affecting everywhere in the world. And to let you in on a little secret, I'm recording this a little bit early because I'm off to a retreat this weekend, celebrate to the equinox, Libra season. It just seemed very aligned. Also, like Mars and Libra, of like putting energy towards what brings you peace is a vibe. So I have some dates written down just because I want to get everything straight, to just compare and contrast the astrology and what things that I've been noticing. First of all, I felt intuitively like this strike was going to be ending as Mercury and Venus are leaving their retrogrades, or like Venus and Leo is very much about acting, spotlight energy, creativity, fabulousness, the drama. And the writers entered in on the strike on July 14th, just 8 days before Venus stationed retrograde. So Venus was already in the pre-retrograde shadows when the actors joined the strike. What's interesting is that when the writers started their strike, it was May 2nd at 12:01 p.m. or a.m. or p.m., but it was 12:01 on May 2nd. May 2nd, Mercury was retrograde in the sign of Taurus. However, it was a Sun Mercury retrograde cazimi at 11 degrees of Taurus. So this cazimi gave extreme clarity on business, commerce. It was very Taurus as well. Taurus is like, we're not moving until we get paid. We're not moving until we get the love that we deserve. During that day as well, the moon was in Libra, balance, justice, and the moon in Libra was making an exact trine to Pluto, retrograde in Aquarius. And Venus was in Gemini at the time, making a square to Neptune in Pisces. So there's a lot going on. I'll probably make a longer form content about that for Instagram, for a blog, just to show you all that for those who want to see the visual representation. But of course, a Sun Mercury retrograde cazimi, the writer's strike occurred. Then a couple months later, when Venus was in her pre-retrograde shadows, the actors joined the strike as well. No surprise as well that Pluto going back into Capricorn was also a big catalyst as well, because the last writer's strike was between November 5th, 2007 and February 12th, 2008. So again, it's starting on a fixed sign season. This writer's strike started in May, Taurus season, fixed Earth. The last writer's strike started in November 5th, Scorpio season, fixed water. Now, the writer's strike back then ended February 12th, 2008. Pluto entered Capricorn January of 2008, January 26th. So just a couple weeks later is when the writer's strike ended back then. And this Pluto in Capricorn is being up for review, right? We're all reevaluating the Capricorn part of our chart over the past 15 years. Now, Netflix has been around for a long time, but Netflix is kind of like the blueprint for streaming services, right? If you guys remember back in the day, you could like go to malls and there would be like Netflix, and you could punch in and it would drop down a DVD. They even like mailed the DVDs before it was an online streaming platform that everyone could access on smart TVs, their phones, whatever it was. So Netflix launched online on January 16th, 2007. So this entity of online streaming was already a prominent energy when the writers striked back then. So it's interesting to me that Pluto retrograding back, Pluto retrograde now conjunct the sun of that launch in Capricorn, that the writers are renegotiating, and also the actors now, the terms and conditions of how these streaming platforms have completely revolutionized the acting industry, the entertainment industry. And that is all Capricorn. These prominent structures that support everything. And as streaming platforms get bigger and bigger and bigger, who knows what the next evolution is? But Pluto retrograding, given it was already in Aquarius, goes back into Capricorn to now restructure how a streaming platform that also had a launch in Capricorn season, how that is affecting everyone. So the astrology is just brilliant and I love it. Let me know what you think about that. Let me know your insights, because I also have followers and clients that are in the entertainment industry and have also been going through it. And I'm just curious to hear what you guys think about the astrology. If you had predictions as well regarding when this strike would end. I believe they're meeting on Friday, September 22nd, 2023, and there might be clarity given. It'd be interesting if that clarity came on Monday, like we said, with the Mercury-Jupiter trine, or if news was released on Monday, the 25th of September, about how everything is shifting, how things are back on track, because that would be such a Mercury-Jupiter trine energy. So with that, I am wishing you all a beautiful week, a expansive week, an abundant week, a prosperous week with a fantastic Aries full moon. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.